fans, and welcome to another exciting edition of Cammy's Comic Corner. I'm your host as always, Cammy. Now, this is another one of those special top shelf review episodes where every month, at the end of every month, I review a top shelf comic. The selection for the month of February is something different. It's a little older, mind you, but it's still available if you search online, eBay, Amazon, what have you. It is Lowlife, written and drawn by Ed Brubaker. Now, it came out in 2001, and before Sean Phillips and Ed Brubaker, there was just Brubaker. You thought he was just a writer? He just, Sleeper, Incognito, Daredevil, Gotham Central. The guy's a writer, obviously. I mean, that's how I knew him. That's how, when I was getting into comics, I knew Brubaker. He was the guy to go to. Captain America, Winter Soldier, Brubaker. Well, apparently, back in the 90s, he was quite the artist himself. And he would write and draw his own little comics called Lowlife. And in this top shelf publishing, it's been collected. And you get the best of his 90s work, and it's quite surprising. Just to see him in this semi-autobiographical comic, you see him as kind of a ruffian and a hooligan. It's a weird example. Discovering that your mom and dad were like porn stars back in the 60s, and then you've just found out now. So seeing Brubaker, you think writer, but actually, this guy was doing quite the entertaining comics. We have all that's changed is the facts have been slightly skewed, and then the names have been changed to protect those involved. But you see him growing up and kind of hanging with an iffy crowd, doing drugs, selling drugs, going out to nightclubs, pining over girls that just want to be friends. And it's collected in a kind of nice slice of life format. His art style is kind of something like Alex Robinson. So if you're a fan of Box Office Poison and that whole look and feel, because it is in black and white as well, I think you might like this. One of my favorite stories is actually, it takes place at the very beginning. It's him in a theater telling his experience of seeing a hand job happen to this guy a couple rows in front of him. And apparently the guy, when he finished, accidentally shot a little too far and hit some guy in the head, and the guy was like, "Hey, who's throwing coke?" And apparently that was a whole thing between him and the artist for years later. But you get to see him, angry at his boss, at his job, at a bookstore, stealing constantly. It's quite the wild ride, and it takes you aback, but it's hysterical all at the same time. I mean, most of it's hysterical. Some of it's just like, oh, that poor guy. But he even says in the introduction that, he would never intended for the character Tommy, kind of based on him, to be, like gaining sympathy. So that's the book of the month selection, top shelf wise, for February. You can probably find it on Amazon and eBay, like I said before, and it's just a different look into Ed Brubaker. And then, hell, if you buy it, get him to sign it at a convention, you'll probably take him aback. It's like, oh, you don't want me to sign Winter Soldier? You'd rather me sign this? I like you, kid. You're going places. I don't know if he's going to say that. I don't guarantee anything, but that would be a cool scenario in my dreams. And then we'd go out and have ice cream with Sean Phillips. But anyway, if you want more top shelf reviews, I've done one for January. I'm going to be doing them all year long at the ends of the months. Head on over to www.cammyscomiccorner.com. Also, you can check out the top shelf catalog at topshelfcomics.com. And then if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can go head on over to www.cammyscomiccorner.com/geekytalkie. So that does it for the top shelf selection. Hopefully you'll go out and be entertained, or if you already have it, because you're that old school. But until March, this has been Cammy's Comic Corner. I've been your host, Cammy. I'm going to go throw some coke now.